Hello and welcome back to Diddy on Trial from BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service with me, Anoushka Mutanda-Dougherty. We are the place to come to find out everything you need to know about Diddy and his upcoming trial. We're unpacking the unfolding story, we're myth-busting, we're fact-checking and we're answering your questions. And new episodes will be with you weekly, so make sure you're subscribed to the BBC World Service YouTube channel so you never miss a thing. This week, we're reflecting on the story that's taken over the headlines, and later we're speaking to our BBC colleague who's been chatting to lawyer Tony Buzbee. But really, there's only one place to start today.
The rapper Jay-Z has been accused in a civil lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old alongside Shaun Diddy Combs at a party in the year 2000.
This is the news that we brought you earlier in the week in our special episode that US rapper Jay-Z, real name Shawn Carter, has been mentioned in a US civil suit that alleges that he, alongside Shaun Diddy Combs, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl after the VMAs in 2000. Jay-Z has dismissed the legal action as a blackmail attempt and Diddy has denied the new accusations. To reflect on this with me today is Rolling Stone's senior investigative reporter Cheyenne Roundtree. Hi, Cheyenne.
Hi.
And criminal defense attorney Shaun Kent. Hi, Shaun.
Hey, how are you doing?
So, after the news broke, Jay-Z's lawyer filed a motion on Tuesday. They've asked to deny the plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously. They've also asked for the case to be dealt with as quickly as possible because of the highly sensitive nature of the matter and because of the media interest it's generated. The filed motion from Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, also says, for the avoidance of doubt, Mr. Carter is entirely innocent. This is a shakedown. He is not mentioned, referenced, or implicated in any way in the criminal investigation of Mr. Combs. He is neither a target nor a person of interest in that investigation. Cheyenne, I'll start with you. Sort of where were you and how did you react when you heard the new allegations?
I was actually coming out of a theater show, and so my phone just was filled with messages, trying to work out what happened, or um, and then Jay-Z's statement dropped, and so it was kind of all hands on deck on a Sunday night, which has been kind of the case for some of these updated filings. The news breaks at night, and the next morning it's just unfolding as things continue.
I was in the bed eating chicken wings and they were delicious. And all of a sudden my phone just started text messages and messages from TikTok and Joe. So I started doing my own research and I had grease all over my fingers typing on the iPad. And I was just like, well, here we go. It's about to blow up.
I mean, this is kind of what people have been waiting for. When Tony Buzbee came out at the beginning of October and he promised to name other people co-conspirators, the facilitators of foul play, he called them. Was that kind of what you were seeing online, just comments of, oh, okay, it's beginning?
I think, since Diddy was arrested and the idea of his parties, people have been clamoring for additional names, other celebrities to now be pulled into that. And Jay-Z is one of the biggest celebrities so far. It's pulled into it. So yeah, people were kind of waiting for a moment like this.
And if you listen to his lawyers, some of the things that they said that were pretty interesting is he's not a target. He's not a probe or things of this at the criminal investigation, because if he was a target, he would have received a target letter from the federal authorities saying, you come and sit down and talk to us. So his lawyer said, without saying, the federal government on this RICO allegations have never talked to Jay-Z. That's basically him saying, I already know nobody's looking at me criminal.
Cheyenne, it's been said that Jay-Z personifies the American dream, his backstory, his rise. Just to reiterate how huge this is, talk about Jay-Z as a sort of cultural force.
I think when you think of hip hop, rap, and music, it's Jay-Z that's been kind of there since, the 90s. Him and Diddy are the same age. They came up. And if you look at Jay-Z's influence today, the NFL, Rock Nation, he kind of touches every era of a mogul. He is a mogul in his own right. He's a billionaire. His wife, Beyonce, and him are a power couple. Their children are kind of they're Nepo babies, but they're really well respected and admired within the industry across the world. And Jay-Z has gone from, a New York rapper to a very sophisticated mogul who is well respected across all industries. So for him now to be brought into this is kind of really shifting the plates of, the scope of these allegations and just who they can touch and at a seemingly untouchable level.
Yeah, I just want to touch on a little bit there the evolution of Jay-Z, because similarly to P. Diddy, he's had different personas. We've had Jigga Man, and that's maybe how you knew him at the beginning. But in recent years, I'm like past 8 years, he's really rebranded himself as, you know, the therapy with Beyonce, the talking about his mistakes in his marriage, the Black Billionaires Club, the Black Excellence, the philanthropy. And part of that, yes, how they've chosen to raise their children is very well respected. You know, Blue Ivy, they've spoken about her work ethic and her sort of having to go on tour with Beyonce and prove herself. It feels shocking, I think, to a lot of people that this version of Jay-Z, which is a very family-friendly version now, is the one who's been hit with these allegations of sexual abuse.
I mean, it's shocking. I mean, also, you have to remember when they were coming up or in their 20s and 30s, we're all allowed to grow and to evolve and to be, better versions of ourselves, especially as we, you know, grow up. But it is just shocking. This allegation just popped up. And he goes back to like, look at what I've built. This is not my character. I'm heartbroken for my family. This does not align with my moral code. We have a code of ethics, and I would never hurt a children. Or never hurt a child. So he's denied this like full-heartedly.
There are a lot of questions that people have after reading the lawsuit, hearing about the lawsuit. Shawn, I've just got to fire some at you because I'm a bit confused. The filing and then the refiling, is that a normal thing? What's going on with that?
Yes and no. We have a statute that allows when you're talking about sexual assault, you can file as a Jane Doe, or you don't have to name a person if you don't want to. Is it normal? No, but the law allows it. So, normally that does not happen. Now, one of the things that I think came out, Jay-Z's statement that flat out said, fair is fair. You're suing me. Let me know who my accuser is. Stop being anonymous. Show your damn face. Show yourself. Because in America, we are allowed to face our accusers. And so you have filed a suit against me anonymously. The damage is done. Everybody is talking about my reputation. I need to now know who you are. And I think that's fair. I really do. Because he should be allowed to do his research. Was this 13-year-old girl actually at the party? Was he there at the same time at the party? Where the heck were this person's parents? How can I fight these allegations if I don't know who you are? So is it normal? Yes. Is it rare? Extremely. But sexual assault cases are different.
So if they filed with Jay-Z listed as celebrity A.
Yes.
Right. So then
Yes,
when they refiled and they added his name to it, are we to assume that is because they got more evidence? They felt more confident in their claim? Why would you do it then?
Because they sent him a demand letter and they basically said, look, we're naming you in this lawsuit. We are suing you. If you want to keep your name out, pay us. And then Jay-Z, I'm assuming, sent him a letter back and said, I ain't paying y'all. What was the phrase? One red penny. They said, well, Jay-Z said, I'm not paying you, which means the settlement broke down is the easiest way to describe it. We tried to settle, it broke down, so I'm naming you in this lawsuit.
Okay, but wait a minute, because Tony Buzbee said that they did not ask for money, they asked for mediation.
Correct, a confidential mediation. They wanted to sit down together. They wanted to have a confidential mediation to see if they could settle case.
Mediation, is it a normal thing to ask for? Why? I'm trying to put myself in the mind of somebody who may possibly allegedly have suffered this. Mediation, why would you want that?
In some states, it's not even that you want it, it's required. Like in our state, when we file a lawsuit, before you can get in front of a jury, you must tell the judge that we attempted to mediate and attempted to work this case out. You must do it.
Okay, you said this is filed federally, but that doesn't mean it's filed criminally.
No.
If it's within the statute in New York, why isn't it filed criminally?
What a great question, right? And that's one of his allegations as he's coming back forth. He's just like, if there was merit to this case, that's his statement. If there's merit to this case, why didn't they come after me criminally? And if any state prosecutor, if any federal prosecutor is hearing these allegations and just said, hey, we're not going to do anything with them, that's insane. So I think that tips to Jay-Z's favor that they're not looking at this. Or are they? They may be. I don't know. And maybe they haven't talked to the victim yet. There's a lot we don't know.
And I would add, Shawn, correct me if I'm wrong, but as a person, I can't bring a criminal lawsuit against anyone, even if there was a crime that happened. The state or federal prosecutors have to decide that my case has merit, and they are the ones that bring criminal charges. So even when, Jay-Z is saying, hey, take this criminal, as an individual person, I can't do that. That is out of my hands. That is in law enforcement's hands. So that is a huge kind of place, because a lot of times I think survivors are told, well, why don't you go to the police? Why don't you go after versus going for money? And as an individual person, the most I can seek is a civil recourse, unless law enforcement sees my case and takes it on. So it's kind of a twofold thing there.
Oh, how do they decide what cases to see? Sorry, I'm so confused by this. Should Buzbee have picked up the phone and said something really horrific has been alleged in my office? I want you guys to take a look at this.
Well, here's what I'm going to shock you as a former prosecutor and current criminal defense attorney. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but a lot of times people go into police stations and they're not believed. And if she went, a 13-year-old goes to law enforcement and says, I was just raped by Puff Daddy and Jay-Z back in the height of their popularity, I can see a police chief, I can see a police officer saying, we don't believe you. And as a victim, when you're told you're not believed, and subconsciously, sometimes victims are like, who's going to believe me? I'm not going to come forward.
And before we move on, this is from the office of Shaun Diddy Combs' defense. A statement from his legal team said, this amended lawsuit was the latest in a series of shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Combs. The statement said that the judicial process would show Mr. Combs to be innocent of all the allegations against him. And the anonymity issue, I mean, this is a thing for Jay-Z. This is also a thing for many of other Tony Buzbee cases of the 120 alleged victims he's representing. Do you think they're going to be successful in asking for the anonymity to be lifted, Jay-Z's lawyers?
Well, I spoke with the law professor last week about this very issue, about Jane Doe's, if they're going to be able to proceed anonymously. Buzbee has filed, I think he's at 20 cases right now with all Jane or John Doe plaintiffs, and it's kind of a mixed bag. Individual judges are determining if those cases can proceed anonymously. And so far, 2 judges have ruled, nope, you can't. Other judges have said, sure, right, as of right now, until something changes, you can proceed anonymously. So it is kind of a 50-50 chance on what these judges will decide in the Jay-Z case with this 13-year-old accuser.
And another element of this, which has been quite confusing, is that there is another unnamed celebrity included in the lawsuit, Celebrity B, a female celebrity who's allegedly in the room when the alleged assault took place and stands back and watches. Cheyenne, there's been no indication as to who that is, has there?
No, there hasn't. I mean, and also an amended complaint could drop today with the name of that woman. So it is kind of a wait and see. Maybe that person already has received a similar demand letter from Buzbee's firm, and they have, agreed to they've come to some agreement already. So we don't know. And we don't know if we'll ever find out.
And I just really want to clear this up because I saw this a few times yesterday. It's Celebrity A, it's Celebrity B. If there was another celebrity, it'd be Celebrity C. B is not for Beyonce. A lot of people think it's like hint, hint, nudge, nudge, B for Beyonce. Beyonce hasn't been referenced in this lawsuit. She hasn't been referenced in any lawsuits. She hasn't been referenced in the federal indictment. You mentioned there Jay-Z denied this. Jay-Z denied this. I was not expecting, long Instagram statements from Jay-Z. We don't typically hear that much from him. He does not post a lot. He's very private. But he denied it on Instagram, on the Rock Nation Instagram account. And he also denied the allegations in a statement to NBC. And I've got it here. NBC in the US. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, which we've spoken about, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve a real justice if that were the case. He also posted on Instagram, breaking from tradition for him. About the personal side of this, obviously, as we've said, he's very famously married to Beyonce. He's also got, Blue Ivy is a star in her own right now. And there are two other children, Rumi and Sir, who also I would say are celebrity babies. I mean, everybody knows a lot about these children. And he said in his post, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people." What did you guys think when you read that? Cheyenne, you first.
Yeah, I think he is going to bat for his name. I think he wants to be very clear that he says that this is not true. This is not him. He's fighting it civilly, and he's also taking action against the woman's lawyer, Tony Buzbee.
Shaun, what did you make of those statements?
I love when somebody comes to a full-throated defense of themselves. I'm always very cautious as the criminal defense attorney. I'm like, be careful on saying things that are that specific because he's all in.
Buzbee, in a statement to me yesterday, kind of said that same thing. He said, Jay-Z's creating a silly sideshow, and we're committed to, defending a courageous woman who's brought these allegations.
Jay-Z, he made his position, his opinion on Buzbee very clear. You call him an ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. And then his lawyers filed a motion that goes on to say attorney Tony Buzbee has orchestrated a month-long press campaign aimed at inflaming public opinion and escalating the events in real time on social media platforms. Mr. Buzbee continues to amplify false narratives, exploiting the legal process to generate media attention and damage Mr. Carter's reputation.
When you file a lawsuit in America, as an attorney, you must have a good faith belief on why you're filing the lawsuit. You must. Buzbee better hope he has a good faith belief on why he's filing this lawsuit, or a federal judge will destroy him over just dragging it. This is a bell that cannot be unrung. Now that the name is mentioned, it's never going to go away.
And Buzbee has also taken to Instagram. He's big on Instagram. He posts a lot, long statements, and he's posted about this. He said, "Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he's tried to bully and harass me. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened, and I'm very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we'll let the filing speak for itself and we'll litigate the facts in court, not in the media." Well, that sounds to me like an assertion that he has a good faith belief in what's happened.
Absolutely. I mean, that's his belief. He has a good faith belief. Jay-Z said it himself. He's not and he's not. I mean, this is a guy who grew up differently than everybody else. He's not going to, everybody, what's the phrase? Don't let the suit fool you. He grew up in the streets, and he's just like, you're going to make these allegations against me, a bunch of kids, I'm going to fight back. So this might be, we talk about Diddy doesn't listen to his lawyers. This is a guy who is self-made, who is not used to people bullying him, extorting him. I mean, this is a drug dealer from the streets. Let's not forget where he started. This is not something that he's like, I'm not going to play your suit and tie games. He's street.
But that is a fact. We know he was a drug dealer. He was on the streets. His art was a reflection of the life that he lived, and that has allowed him to climb, his early art has allowed him to climb to the levels that he has. And he's also a very skilled rapper. But that is who he is, and he's made that very clear in his statements. That is who he's going to continue to be while he fights this out. Shaun, Cheyenne, thank you so much, and I know I'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated. Bye, Cheyenne.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
In other civil lawsuit news, it looks like there could be 150 civil suits on the way via Tony Buzbee, the Texan lawyer who's representing other alleged victims of P. Diddy. Before the Jay-Z news broke, I caught up with the BBC's music correspondent Mark Savage, who's been chatting to Tony.
So the interesting thing is that Tony didn't actually start out pursuing this case. It was handed to him by a friend, another lawyer from California called Andrew Van Arsdale. And as he was investigating those claims, he started getting calls from people who said they had stories to tell about Shaun Diddy Combs. He asked Tony if he could help because he just didn't have the resources to deal with it. And Tony said yes. He put out an Instagram statement asking victims to come forward. And he said to me, in the 10 days after that Instagram statement, his team received about 3,000 calls. He had a team of lawyers and former law enforcement officials screening out the ones that they thought might be potentially actionable in court. He's talking about 160 cases. I think we've only seen about 24 filed so far, so there's a lot more still to come. It sounds like he has a lot of cases waiting in the wings.
Tony knows how to put on a show for the media. What do we know about him as a character?
I mean, he is very media friendly and he does put his case out there in the public. He was very careful with me. He wouldn't, share any of the legal arguments that he might make in court. He didn't want to prejudice the trial, but he is very good at stepping into the limelight, asking more victims to come forward, and kind of making a case in public to set out his stall ahead of any eventual trial. He has been very successful and he is very well known around Texas. He, in fact, stood to be a politician at one point, but I think has returned to his law firm.
And I read about, have you heard about the tank, the World War II tank?
I have not heard about the tank. Tell me this.
Oh, so he bid on a real World War II tank at auction and he got it, and then he parked it outside of his house and the whole neighborhood was up in arms and they sort of got together and tried to petition him to move this giant World War II tank, and he wouldn't move it. So I'd heard about that before, and then I was like, oh, this is the same guy that did the press release in October. But when he did that press release, he spoke about 120 cases that he was representing, and that's less than what he's said to you. Do you know why that might be?
He said to me that his team are still receiving calls every day. So I suspect they're still going through that process of vetting people who have made claims and working out which ones they can take to court. And obviously he feels that that pool of potential victims and survivors has increased since he put out that statement in October.
And did he give any sort of indication as to what's next for him and his team?
None of these civil cases can really proceed until the government's case against Diddy has completed, because under the Fifth Amendment, you have the right to remain silent. And if you said something in a civil case that could then be entered as evidence in the criminal one, it could be seen as undermining those rights. So these alleged victims will have to wait for their day in court. And the government's case is due to come to trial in May, but we do know those things could slip. We saw with the R. Kelly trial that the date was pushed back several times. So it could be a long time before any of these cases come to trial. I think as well, at the moment, as is the standard procedure, all of the cases have to be filed individually. So each of the alleged victims puts their own case forward. But I think what will happen further down the line is that in each jurisdiction, there will be a judge appointed to oversee a number of them, and they may be heard as a class action or as a number of combined cases.
And I do just have to say, with the civil cases, P. Diddy, Shaun Combs has come out and said that, he refutes all of the claims and he says he's innocent and he's never sexually assaulted anyone. And a lot of the Buzbee cases are just, well, they've referred to them as cash grabs. Did Buzbee speak on that at all, a response to that, Diddy's defence?
No, he told me that he wouldn't rehearse his arguments in public. But I think, that is, as you say, Shaun Combs' defence, that a lot of these cases were filed after the federal investigation came to light. They will suggest that these are people seeking some kind of financial recompense and that the claims do not stack up. But obviously that will be for a jury to decide.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us again. This is fascinating. Okay, so before we go today, it's of course time for Fact or Fiction. This one came through the WhatsApp channel. They didn't leave their name, but they want to know about any allegations about Justin Bieber and Diddy. Well, there aren't any allegations at all. Justin Bieber hasn't made any, and Diddy denies all the allegations against him and says he's never sexually assaulted anyone. They're not mentioned in any civil suits, any lawsuits. There's no criminal investigation into the relationship between Justin Bieber and P. Diddy, and he's not mentioned in the federal indictment. But we do know that Diddy and Justin Bieber definitely worked together. Diddy was a mentor to Justin Bieber because he was a mentor to Usher, and Usher was instrumental in the rise of JB. And there are lots of videos of the pair together as well. There's one particular one from 2009 when Justin was just 15 years old. He's hanging out with P. Diddy and Diddy is showing him a Lamborghini. And there's one particular bit that people tend to remember the most. And that's when Diddy says he's had 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the time of their lives. Like, you know, we're hanging out. And what are we doing? We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. And then even more attention was put on the pair when a song went viral on social media where Justin Bieber appears to talk about a Diddy party and the lyrics say, "I lost myself at a Diddy party." But it's not real, it's AI. It's pretty convincing, but it is AI. As of right now, Justin Bieber has not commented on his relationship with P. Diddy since the allegations came out. He is not mentioned in any court cases. He's not mentioned in the federal indictment. He hasn't said anything. And P. Diddy, he hasn't said anything about Justin Bieber, but he has said, and will continue to say on this pod, remind you that he denies all the allegations against him and says he's never sexually assaulted anyone, man or woman, adult or child. So that is this week's Fact or Fiction. But if you've heard something that you want us to fact check on the pod, or you just want us to unpack a little bit more, you can WhatsApp us your questions at 0330 123 551. That's 0330 123 551. I'm Anoushka Mutanda-Dougherty, and you've been listening to Diddy on Trial from BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service. Don't forget to subscribe to the BBC World Service YouTube channel so you never miss a thing.